What's going on, folks, and welcome back to another Scum video. I hope we're all doing well. As always, thank you so much for your incredible support, ladies and gents. It has been a very busy time on the streams recently because of the 0.8 builds and everything else. So please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe to keep up with future streams and videos. And also the likes help to push this out, ladies and gents. So please don't forget to do that. Now, I'm not going to go through everything. I'm going to skip some bits that we don't need to read because I'm just going to make it obvious to you guys what that's going to say anyway. But this is the official update for 0.8. Now, 0.8 is a big phase in the development of this game for a lot of reasons. There's a few game-changing mechanics that we're going to need to go through. But like I said, or if I haven't said it, I'll say it now. There is a link to these patch notes in the description of this video. So please pull it up, go and get yourself a coffee, whatever, and go through it and spend some time and have a look at what has changed, okay? There's a new audio thing as well, which we'll get to when we get to the very bottom as well. So here we are, going nuclear. This is a nuclear power plant POI and radioactivity system. This whole new area and system will provide a complete new challenge to the game. Let's start with the POI itself. So we've got some images here. You can see the hazmat suit, the Geiger counter, and stuff like that. These are amazing, by the way, ladies and gents. These do look phenomenal. Like, the atmospherics in this area is just perfect, and it is literally perfect. And I really like the ominous kind of like vibe and sound that you get here as well, because the atmospherics do bring kind of like a tone in the background, which is really nice. So you can see some really cool shots here. Some shots on the inside as well. Not sure exactly, like literally we're going through this right now, okay? So this is where we're going to learn about a few of the things. So the heart and soul of the new radioactive zone, the ruined nuclear power plant, is a new highly dangerous POI filled with new dangers, both seen and unseen. Obviously unseen being the radiation, but also with some higher tier rewards from the surrounding deadwoods across the industrial environment that has been rusted down through time and radiation to the abandoned facilities with claustrophobic corridors leading you in a maze. So you can, this is quite a large area. This is like a very large POI. And you can see some of the little image here or video, and the lights all flickering and stuff like that as well. It's a very creepy environment. So you will need to have radiation suits and stuff. So the radiation here, I don't need to explain what radiation is, but we'll go over how it affects the game. So we're going to talk about how radiation affects you within this area. So as the core of the nuclear power plant exploded, it has released a deadly radioactive cloud in the area surrounding it. The closer you get to the core, the higher the radiation level you will experience. As the core is still exposed and active, it still actively releases radiation clouds inside the zone, which move randomly and will increase radiation levels on certain spots as well. Now, I don't know how to pronounce this word coming up, so I'm just going to say it, and it's probably going to be completely wrong, okay? The intensity of these zones are measured in sieverts. The highest it can go is 60 SVH, all the way down to 0.1 SVH at the edge of the zone. Now, you might be wondering what that radiation will do to you. Well, the radiation level contaminates everything it comes into contact with. As for the players, aka you, there are two types of contamination it can cause. External and internal. External contamination is all the radioactivity that the player comes in contact with through breathing, skin contact, contaminated clothing, and any open wounds. It can be prevented by wearing a hazmat suit. More on them below. If you happen to have some external contamination, the decontamination methods would be to either wash any of the items contaminated with soap, or in player's case, just take a bath. So internal contamination is possible when the player consumes a contaminated item. Decontamination can be done, though, done through sweat and urine, but depletion will start only when all of the radiation completely clears the body. How to spot where those zones and radiation pockets are. So we have Geiger counters, guys. We've got an improvised one, and we have an actual analog one, I think they call it. So yes, they have an analog and improvised. The analog counter will produce the sound and give out the exact measurement of radiation, while the improvised one will only produce sound depending on the radiation around you. Okay, so the one on the left obviously has a meter and a sound. The one on the right obviously just gives you the sound. So you have a Geiger counter. What now? Well, now you will need a layer of protection. Enter hazmat suits. So here we go, hazmat suits. You guys have seen this on the streams. The only complete level of protection can be obtained by wearing a hazmat suit. Again, there are two in the game. The modern version, which you can see here, very nice. and also the vintage version. I don't know if I actually mentioned this at the beginning of the video, guys, but obviously where this patch has just come out, I'm going to be making videos on different sections and showing different things throughout the next couple of weeks, so I can actually cut this up into stuff, and we can actually, like, into videos, and then we can actually go onto the server and make these videos too. The difference between them is the modern one, so we're talking about the yellow one here. So the yellow one has more inventory space, plus an armored vest can be worn below the suit, but it's highly visible. The vintage one blends with the environment better, as you can see. It looks cool, that's true. Less inventory space and no armor options. Now, I don't know if it's going to mention here, but obviously when we were playing on the server, you can't eat or drink when you're in the radiation zone, because you can't... I mean, you can, but you'd have to take the suits off, which you don't want to do. So you want to make sure you're eating and drinking before you actually go into the radioactive zone. So let's have a look here. So both will do the job you need, though, as long as you keep them maintained. The hazmat suit will drop its protection level depending on the durability of the suit, so be careful not to get hit when donning one. Durability 80 provides full protection. Durability 30 doesn't provide any protection. So 30 and below doesn't provide any protection, and the durability of above 80 provides full protection. So when you start going below 80, I'm guessing, then that's obviously when you're going to start having issues. But these are things we're going to look into and learn, and I will put out in videos. Anything in between the scales, the level of protection according to durability, but don't worry, if any case you have a damaged suit, you can repair it with a bit of duct tape, which I think is really cool. So, if you cannot get your hands on a hazmat suit, but still find yourself a bit adventurous, a gas mask will provide you with a bit of protection, but do not expect much. Now, if you leave yourself contaminated for a while and not take care of it, you will get more and more severe consequences. These will arrive in form of the acute radiation syndrome, or ARS. There are 4 levels of severity depending on how many cells the radiation obliterated. So a C1 is 5 to 10% dead cells, and they will give you fatigue, weakness, and leukopenia. C2 is a 10 to 20% dead cells, hair loss, random bleeding, moderate leukopenia. C3 is 20 to 25% dead cells, diarrhea, vomiting, dizziness, severe leukopenia. And C4 is 35 to 100% dead cells, nausea, vomiting, severe diarrhea, and death. So regeneration rate of the dead cells depends on the severity as well. So you can see the C1 to C4 regeneration rate is very, very... Like, you get to a C4, there is no regeneration rate. So there's 2 different types of treatment. Phoenix Tears cures all of it, and it is the only possible cure for a C4 level of radiation poisoning. Which makes sense, because that's what Phoenix Tears are there for. The new potassium iodide pills are used to block radiation for a determined amount of time. 1 pill can block 2 SV for half an hour, and taking multiple pills only prolongs the effect. It doesn't make it stronger. After that time, the blocked radiation returns. So, now you might be wondering, that is all well and done. Also, thank you for the nightmare fuel. But what is the benefit of going there? Well, my friend, let me tell you about the loot. So, depleted uranium and graphite. When you get to the zone, you'll want to look for special new wardrobes. That's where the money is. Inside, you can find even more hazard protective gear, but the real money lies in one of these. To the left, we have the depleted uranium, and to the right, we have a block of graphite. Depleted uranium can be only sold for cannot only be sold for a hefty sum at the trader. It can also be used to make crafted armored piercing bullets, or crap for short. Graphite can be sold. So the graphite blocks on the right hand side can be sold for a good amount of money as well for now, but there are plans for more functionality in the future. Now, both of these items are still highly radioactive, more so graphite than depleted uranium. So extracting them from the zone will require one more thing, a sealed uranium container, which obviously you can see here. This new storage item will be used to safely deposit all the contaminated materials from the zone to wherever you need to. And that's it on the radiation. So modular base building, guys. Modular base building, which you can see right here. which is a huge deal for this game, ladies and gents, and I'm sure there's a lot more to come with modular base building too. It's probably going to be a work in progress for some time. And apologies on the length of this video, it's going to be a bit longer than I thought. Next up, we have a highly requested feature. Finally, after all of this time of teasing, modular base building elements are making their way into the game. A whole new system that will let you guys be way more creative in your base building and build better bases strategically. Alright, to start off, we have a couple of new elements which you will find from Foundations. Different walls, stairs. These are the basic new base building elements that you will utilize now, with more on the way in the future. We also kept a lot of the old base building elements in the game as well, so you will be able to combine the two to make your perfect island getaway before someone blows it up with C4. Crikey, where's my coffee? There it is. First important note right now is that we separated the building menu from the crafting menu. You will now find a new building tab where you can find all the fillable blueprints, base building or not, which you can see at the top here in this image. You can actually see the new building element, which is a lot better, I think. It makes sense. Now that is cleared, let's get to the good stuff. There's a couple of things to note here, but most of it will be your own experience with it and experimentation. We cannot see what will come to fruition once you guys get your hands on it. So let's start with an important part of this feature, stability. Do not think you will be able to construct structures size of an average medieval castle sitting on top of the tiniest twig possible. You will have to construct a nice layer of foundations and support elements if you want to build bigger, better and higher. You will also have to keep in mind the level of the element. The higher the level of the element, the more stability it can have on top of it. Speaking of these levels, yes, all of the materials and levels that are possible on the outside walls are now also possible on the modular base building elements, which you can see right here. It's going to be incredible to see some of these little bases. Like, look at this one here, just like a little, you know, it's just like a little bunker. There are also some restrictions gameplay-wise as well. There is a limit on how many modular base building elements you can place per flag. This limit does not count in regular base building elements. An important note is that the more players that are in a squad, right, I want everyone to listen up on this bit because this is very important. An important note is that the more players that are in the squad, the higher the limit will be for the modular base building elements. This will not only help with the server performance, but it also has a gameplay mechanic behind it. So now if you find a really big base, you can expect gear for a whole team inside. Private server owners can adjust this limit, of course. So what happened is when we was on the event the other day, guys, and the 0.8 build that we had, I built a base and my flag showed me how many elements I have. Now, if I've got one person in my squad, I have 100 elements. If I have 2 people in my squad, that's 200 elements. All that is left for now is you guys to experiment with the awesome new system. Check these out. These are really cool. Obviously, some images here of some of the ones that the devs have built, obviously to show off what you can do on the inside and the outside, which is amazing. Really, really cool. Like, you've got the up part here. I'm guessing eventually they can add some cages around here. I think that's probably what we're going to need. Okay, so gardening. This is a huge one, especially for the PvE players. This is huge. What is a home without a garden to tend to? How will vegetarians survive in a harsh environment without telling anyone they have their own garden, and how you don't need meat in your life? Well, have no fear, veggie friends. You can now create and tend to your own gardens. Let's start from the ground up. Literally, to start off, you will need to build a garden plot, which you can see this blueprint below in this image. You can see this garden plot here. Once you place the blueprint, first time you can adjust the size of your mouse movement. Do keep in mind, the bigger the plot, the more care you need to put into it. Okay, yes, because I did try that as well, and the bigger it was a nightmare. So try and keep them, you know, small. Once you place down your little garden, depending on the size, you will have plots where you can plant your seeds. There are many wonderful seeds to be found, including red onions, peppers, carrots, zucchini, chili peppers, tomatoes, spinach, lettuce, cucumber, potatoes, corn, watermelon, cabbage, sweet melons, broccoli, garlic, apples, pears, and cherries, and figs. When you get seeds or seed packages for each one, make sure you check out the tooltip for them as well, as it will show you the perfect conditions for growing them. Alright, so you have your seed, now you can plant it. And this is something that happened yesterday on the server again. I went over and picked some corn, and I right-clicked it, and you can sort of extract seed and stuff like that, so you can obviously use it for this. So if you go into your menu mode here, you get something that says seed and fertilizer, and you basically just put the seeds into the seed and the fertilizer into the fertilizer, and then you can water it and everything as well. And that's it for the basics. Now we go to tending the garden. Well, first thing is plants need water. There are 3 different methods you can water your garden with: interacting with water containers, rainfall, and, well, you can urinate on the soil. You can check the water level on each plot by going in focus mode on it. We also have a cute little item for it. In focus mode, you can also check all other stats on the plant, including sunlight levels. So if you go into focus mode around your area, around your planting area here, you can see all the different informations that you need, all the different types of information that you need, rather. Second thing plants need is fertilizer. You need to enrich that soil. There are 2 types, organic and industrial, which we can see here. I really need a sip of my coffee right now. Crikey, 15 minutes. Organic will increase growth speed of the plant by 25% and increase chance of a successful harvest by 5. So obviously 50%, and harvest by 10 for the super, for the industrial fertilizer. So, yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory. All right, cool. You have your garden, you have your seeds, water, fertilizer, everything is nice and planted. You're good, right? Nope. Surprise. Nature wants to claim your hard field work for itself. There is still a danger of weeds, pests, and fungi to grow in your garden and kill your plants. There are different ways that you can combat them. First method is good old-fashioned chemical warfare. Wait, that term is illegal. Chemical tools. Herbicide, pesticide, and fungicide. So you can see this. Chemical tools. Herbicide, pesticide, and fungicide. The chemical way is the only way you can get rid of pests and fungi, while weeds can be rooted out by hand, or even them hoes. So you can even use a hoe to do that too. And that's mostly it. Rinse and repeat process. Take care of your garden, make sure all of its needs are met, and you will prosper. Wow, I can't believe how much information so far is here, but there's so much more information to come. I don't feel it will be too much longer. We've got through most of it, actually, to be fair. So we've got the modular vehicles, ladies and gents, and hopefully you're still with me right now. If you haven't hit that like button while you're all out there in the chat, this will be premiering. So, yes, hello to everyone out there. Please don't forget to hit that like, and don't forget to subscribe as well. Are you ready for this one? Modular vehicles are finally here. Well, better to say vehicle. Unfortunately, we had major issues in the last few days of testing. So in the name of stability, we had to remove the Leica car model for now. So you only see the Volkswagen right now. Also, rest of the vehicles will come back in waves after they are revamped to the new system. So what's new? Well, starting off, before you would find a complete vehicle on the map and only had bring fuel to the vehicle and you are off. So basically what they're saying is before you had a vehicle, you have fuel, you're ready to go, and a battery, obviously. That really did not make sense in an abandoned island environment. It also made it extremely easy for the first squad to just do it. Just go around the island and collect all the vehicles. With the new modular vehicles, we can do a lot more. Vehicles will now spawn in a ruined, downed, and salvaged state. Some of them will miss some parts, some of them other parts. Some of them won't even have an engine. From there, you are free to push the vehicle to a safe area. And now, I love this bit. And you can even salvage parts from cars if you want. Look, check this out. You can actually push a car. So if you're in a squad, which most people are, you can now push your car back to base. It's a long way, and you will be using a lot of energy, I'm sure of it. But you can see here that you can actually push your vehicle now. Very, very cool. And even your friends can help you push for a faster pacing. Some of the parts you can remove and install immediately if you have them. Doors, hood, etc. For the engine, you need to get to the car mechanic. For wheels, you will need a car jack. So if you want to change your wheels now, you need a car jack. So it's becoming very realistic, guys. Very realistic. All the missing parts can be either looted in the world or bought at the car mechanic. Armored upgrades can be obtained through the car mechanic, which you can see here in this image on the right-hand side. So you can see when your car goes up on a jack for, you know, on the lift rather, for modding, you can see you can upgrade the car, which is cool. For the car mechanic service, make sure you park the car at the lift station. You can then hold interact key to lift it and do required maintenance. Now, this is something I really wanted to get into, and I think there's a lot to learn here, so I'm not going to sort of have any guesses. I'm just going to tell you what the devs have, obviously. I've been reading the whole thing out this whole time. So I'm going to tell you exactly what we have here, and when I do cut it up into videos, this will be its own separate thing, because I want to kind of do modular vehicles, base building, banking, and stuff like that to really get you guys to understand how this works. Now, this might not be the most flashy of the features, but it's no way less important. So listen up. We've gathered this one in the rawest data form possible, as you might pull it up again to quickly remind yourself as you adjust to the Switch. Now, this is a huge deal, guys. This is where the mechanics change of the game. And I'm pretty sure now we do not have physical cash. So that's actually out the window now, and we just have the cards. So let me just have a sip of my coffee, because I've been talking for 20 minutes straight now. Right. Banking. All players have bank accounts set by default. Default bank accounts balance is 0. Players can deposit money on the account in outposts by visiting the bank or on the ATM machines, which are scattered throughout the island, and the numerous POIs. Unlimited amounts of money can be deposited into the bank. ATM machines have a deposit withdrawal limit which refreshes over time when used out. Players cannot withdraw or deposit money from ATMs without a valid credit card. Okay, so you're going to need a credit card now, ladies and gents, which is still quite scary, because rather than having some of your money now, you now have all of your money. But this is how this is going to work. So credit cards. That you start off with a starter bank card. With each respawn, players get this card. It's in the inventory. It's free. Doesn't have any protection, which means anyone can add or remove the money from that account. It can be disabled from the banker if it's lost. So, for example, guys, you spawn in, your character comes with its own little starter card, right? If you drop it and you lose that, you can go to the bank and you can cancel that card like you would in real life, and then you'd get another card sent through, right? So it works pretty much like real life with the way that cards work. And you can do that unlimited amount of times, as far as I'm aware. Or actually, the classic one costs 100 and the gold costs 5,000. We'll get onto that. So the classic bank card costs 100 and can be purchased at the bank or any of the ATM machines. It has a 1-digit PIN protection before every transaction has been made. Player has to enter a 1-digit PIN. It has a daily limit of 1,000 for deposit or withdrawal at the ATM machine. I'm guessing on private servers we can change that. The player gets 1 free renewal if lost, and then he has to pay the full price each time. The previous card is cancelled and the new 1-digit protection pin is assigned. Hopefully you guys are with me there. Gold bank card costs 5,000 and can be purchased at the bank only. It has a 2-digit pin protection and a daily limit of $5,000 for deposit withdrawal at the ATM machine. The player gets 5 free renewals if lost, and then he has to pay the full price each time. Their previous card is cancelled. The previous card is cancelled. A new 2-digit pin is applied. So obviously, if you buy the gold one, you get more money on that. So obviously, not more money. Sorry, it costs more money to get the gold card, 5,000. The classic one is 100, and you get 1-digit pin for the classic, and it's a 2-digit pin for the gold one. And the player gets 5 free renewals if lost. And for this one, for the classic one, it has a 1 free renewal if lost as well. Gold. Now, this is something I wanted to get into. Gold can be bought only with the gold card at any banker in any outpost. The purchased gold is deposited on the player's account. The initial gold price is 1,000 per unit for purchasing by players. The gold price is $750 for purchase by bankers. Yes, you can sell gold also. The gold buying capability defines how much gold a banker can buy. If this number reaches 0, the banker cannot buy any more gold. For each 10% reduction in buying capability, the trader will reduce the buying price of gold by 2%. Total gold units that can be purchased at the banker and the regeneration rate of gold units are determined by the outpost economy status. In other words, the more players that use the outpost service, the higher its economy status will be. I love this. I think that's great. That's interesting. Each card has player's nickname on it and an account number. You can also transfer funds between accounts using the transfer option at the banker or ATM. For each transaction, the banker takes a provision of 2%, while the ATM takes a provision of 5%. We get taxed, guys, basically. It's not surprising. We all get taxed. Now, the banking system directly connects to the next one, which is, obviously, you can see here, guys. This is a part of the screen. Obviously, we'll do this in a separate video. We have been trying to find a workaround with how Fame control respawn points. With time, it gets harder and harder to build up fame points, and every death is a costly one. Our goal is to separate fame points from the respawn options and better define what actions make players more famous compared to all the other players on the server. Because fame is fame. That's what it was supposed to be originally, which now they seem to sort of be getting there. Oh, permadeath's coming up. Here's how the new system works. Random and sector spawn will be now paid with credits. Random spawn by default will cost $250. Sector spawn will be $1,000. Shelter respawn will now be paid exclusively with gold. Okay, ladies and gents. Shelter respawn by default will cost 1 gold unit. More on that later. Okay, so shelter respawn. So this is what the gold is for. So you want to spawn back at shelter, you got to make sure you have the gold. Permadeath. To discourage players from overusing the commit suicide option without consequence, we've introduced permadeath. Players can go in the negative balance with respawns up to a maximum of $2,500, but only for random respawns. If a player passes the $2,500 respawn threshold, the company will not respawn his or her characters again, and a new character has to be created, meaning permadeath has happened and respawn options will not be possible. That means that you should deposit cash you found acquired to your account as soon as you can in order to combat this. Now, I love this. I know a lot of people are going to cry about this, and I understand why. But at the same time, this really makes you think about your character, your actions, how you move from day and night, and how you function in a survival environment, especially as a solo player, right? Every action has an equal and opposite reaction, if that's the correct term for it, but every decision you make now is going to have to be thought out. You can't just run here and there unless you're like mega rich. Now you're wondering what fame will be used for then. Well, here's the fame rework. Players won't go into negative fame points anymore. You can't be less famous than anonymous. The fame influx is a constant stream of fame points that happens while players are logged into the game. It is currently set at 0.05 fame points per minute real time. This means that the player gets 1 fame point for each 20 minutes spent in the game. 3 fame points per hour real time. Along with the basic fame influx, players get additional fame points that could be constant or one time only depending on the activity. Basically, whatever you do on the island brings you a number of fame points, depending on the activity. You might not see an immediate change in fame points if the action you're doing brings you less than 1 fame point, but it's adding in the background with all the other actions, so you'll see a change sooner or later. A few examples of significant actions that bring you fame points. Looting items, number of fame points gained depending on item rarity as well. Selling items, number of fame points gained depending on item rarity. Raising attributes to the max, and doing a kill box. So these will help you gain fame. So basically by playing the game, you'll gain fame more in that respect. A few examples of significant actions that make you lose fame points. Suicide. Players lose 50% of their fame points on suicide. This is great because sometimes even I've done that a ton of times to get back to my friends. Buying loot. Number of fame point lost depends on item rarity. The prisoner can't purchase anything at the trader without fame points. Item availability depends on number of... What's that? The prisoner can't purchase anything. Buying loot. So if you've got no fame, you can't buy anything at the trader. Is that right? The prisoner can't purchase anything at the trader without fame points. Item availability depends on number of fame points. Failing a lockpick, number of fame points lost depends on lock type. Getting killed by another player. Obviously, you lose that there. So we've got our last and final bits here. This is it, guys. This is literally it. And last but not least, we've added 3D audio support. The goal of 3D audio is to provide the listener with an audio experience that mimics real life. Its aim is to provide a more immersive experience, especially when using headphones. That means that you should have an easier time figuring out where that damn shot come from. and the ambience sound effects will provide a much more atmospheric experience. Forests will seem even more alive and more. Basically, it will affect all the sounds that you hear across the whole island, and we're eager to hear your feedback. Also, an announcement, we switched some of the servers to a new provider to check out their performance. So they're now using GG Host for their official servers as far as I'm aware here. And at the same time, I think they were using Ping Perfect before. Ping Perfect are a phenomenal web service provider, guys. So feel free to check them out. Link below. And they sponsor RKG as well. Right, ladies and gents. Oh my days, it's 30 minutes in and I'd done all this in one take. That's right, there was no cuts here. This is all the way through. And now my voice is officially warmed up after speaking constantly for 30 minutes. So, ladies and gents, this is huge. And like I said, there's going to be some new... There's going to be some videos that I'm going to be making as well. But just before everyone leaves, thank you so much for your patience and hanging out. And hopefully, you know, this is the official patch notes. So this is what I wanted to go through first. As you can tell, I wouldn't be able to make a video in time, you know, covering everything in-game. So I can do this video and then I can chop it up and we can go through some different things as well. So thank you so much for your time, ladies and gents. I'm eternally grateful for that. And hopefully we all enjoy the 0.8. I'm very excited to start getting back into a new survival series with 0.8 with myself and the squad as well. So with that being said, ladies and gents, have a lovely evening. Again, thank you for your time. Please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe to really help push this video out that you're seeing right now. And we are in premiere mode, so we're coming up right to the end of this. So you probably see me in chat somewhere being like, hey, what's going on? Welcome. So thanks, guys. Much love. And I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.